So Tom Robbins, he wrote in his novel, it's called Half Asleep in Frog Pajamas. He said, "Are you aware that rushing toward a goal is a sublimated death wish? It's no coincidence we call them deadlines." A sublimated death wish. I love that. Deadlines. Yes. Like, think of something you're hurrying with currently. Something you want to achieve, something you want to accomplish, something you're rushing towards. And I want you to imagine having space with that goal, with that dream, with that desire. What if you knew that it was as good as done and that it just didn't require your rushing or grasping or any urgency on your part? Like, if you believed wholeheartedly it's going to happen and you're just curious about watching the process unfold, how would that feel? What would change? How could you be that would be different than how you're being now? It's just kind of wild and fun to consider, because oftentimes these are huge shifts, huge differences. The way you're going about things now, with the hurrying and the rushing and the urgency and the stress and the worry and the anxiety, what would be different if it weren't a rush? What if there were no sublimated death wish? Right? All right, Elizabeth Berg, like, quick tangent here. Can we just talk about Elizabeth Berg? She has written about 1 million novels. I don't know, 20 or 30 novels. Her, like, putting on the coziest pair of socks. They, like, speak right to, like, the honey in your soul. They're so good. If you've never read Elizabeth Berg, I highly, highly recommend her. I've met her a few times in person, and she is absolutely as lovely as you would imagine. And for a good time, follow her on Facebook. She didn't figure Facebook out until, like, I don't know, a few years ago, and it's a trip. It's so fun. All right, anyway, Elizabeth Berg, this is one of her earlier novels. It's called The Year of Pleasures. She wrote, "Everyone seemed to be in a blind hurry, and there was no relief in sight. Technology rushed us ever forward, and simple civility, a certain kindness and care, got sacrificed." So this is a whole other consideration, rushing. What gets sacrificed? What do we give up when we turn our focus and our energy towards the act of rushing? Because often it is this, a certain kindness and care. Like, we rush out of the grocery store without thanking the cashier. We rush through the project. We miss simple little details that would really elevate the whole presentation. We rush through the bedtime routine with our kids and miss the connection that could really complete the day for both parent and child in a really beautiful way. We live in a very power society. Everything is about more and better and faster, right? It's all growth and productivity and prosperity. But that comes at a cost. That is not all good, free, and it's not without sacrifice. And most often, the miss is important. What we give up when we rush and rush and rush is something that's really meaningful to us. But we believe so strongly in the need for more and better and faster, right? The need to rush that we bypass that sacrifice. The connection with real people, the details, the beingness of life. So let's talk about anxiety and rushing, right? That particular circle of hell that we create for ourselves when we constantly rush and feel anxious and then rush to escape the feeling of anxiety. When we're rushing around, we get completely caught up in the doing and the activity and busyness of life. We create a certain amount of anxiety because Well, actually, for a few reasons. One, we're usually fueling all of that activity with thoughts that look like, I need to get all of this done, or I'm falling behind, or once this last thing is taken care of. Those kinds of thoughts generate feelings like overwhelm and stress and anxiety, and then we start acting overwhelmed and stressed and anxious. And the undercurrent of it all, this belief that we need to rush more, creating this really frenetic spin cycle of anxiety and more rushing and more rushing and more anxiety and more rushing. Right? Also, our bodies and our minds map each other. So when our bodies are acting busy and rushing around, our minds look at that and say, whoa, things are really hectic around here. And we start thinking thoughts that map how our bodies are behaving, what we're saying and what we're doing in the world. So our thoughts are fueling our actions, yes, but also our minds are mapping our bodies too. They're watching what we're up to, right? They're matching up to what they're witnessing. Also, we talk a lot around here about cleaning up your thoughts and knowing how to process your feelings. When we start rushing, those are two of the things that we let go of completely and quickly. We stop checking in with our minds and how we're thinking, the content of our thoughts. Stop being discerning with our thoughts. And then we just fall for every thought we think. All of the junk thoughts, all of the crappy thoughts. We just believe all of that. We also get into a logjam of emotions because we aren't processing them as they show up in our bodies. It's like we keep hitting the eject button and trying to escape from our emotions instead of processing them and feeling them, honoring them, listening to them. So two of the most foundational ways to transform and ease anxiety, which are cleaning up your thoughts and processing your emotions, go right out the window when you're rushing around. And you know what that means? More anxiety. So, slowing down isn't a matter of like, oh, that sounds nice. Right? Wouldn't it be lovely to slow things down a bit? Breathe a little easier?